Hi guys, welcome back to Goodbye Grains. I'm Alicia and today we are going to be making two dipping sauces. Now this is perfect to go with my homemade sweet potato fries. If you watched last week's video, they were super simple to make, and so now I'm going to show you two of my favorite dipping sauces for my sweet potato fries. So the first one is a roasted garlic aioli, and you're going to be using one egg yolk, some lemon juice, a little bit of kosher salt and white pepper, and then the most important ingredient is some olive oil, which I already have measured out. The last thing is roasted garlic, which I don't have the ingredients out because they are currently in the oven roasting. So the way I make my roasted garlic, I think I may have mentioned this in another video, but I just take a piece of foil and I either take a full head of garlic and cut it in half and drizzle it with olive oil and then just kind of wrap it up and put it into the oven. Or you can also use cloves that you've already removed and you're going to get a very similar effect. So you just put it in the oven for about 35 to 50 minutes. I usually just put it in with whatever else I happen to have in the oven. If I'm roasting vegetables or I'm making sweet potato fries or something like that, I usually just kind of have it off to the side. So for our wasabi ketchup, we have some tomato sauce. We're going to be using a little bit of apple cider vinegar. I have some granulated onion, and then also a little bit of white pepper and some kosher salt. And then the most important ingredient is wasabi. Now this is dried natural wasabi. All that is in here is horseradish, mustard, and wasabi. This I actually found at like a local spice shop that we have here, and it's a little goes a very long way. So you definitely want to add just a touch of this. If you really like heat, you can feel free to kind of go crazy with it. But just kind of beware, add just the tiniest little bit at a time and kind of taste it and see how you would actually like your wasabi ketchup to be. So let's make the wasabi ketchup first. Okay, so I have our tomato sauce in a bowl. We are going to add our apple cider vinegar, some of our granulated onion, we're going to add a couple big pinches of kosher salt. Now you don't need to add a ton because obviously the tomato sauce already has a little bit of salt in it. The tomato sauce that I buy is just tomatoes, water, and a little bit of salt. You want to add some white pepper. Don't add a ton of this. I only have probably about a quarter to a half of a teaspoon because you are going to be adding the wasabi. And then last you have the wasabi powder. So I would only add this about an eighth to a quarter of a teaspoon at a time. You can kind of stir, mix it up, give it a taste, and see if you want to add a little bit more. So here's just over an eighth of a teaspoon. And then we can stir this all together. And then you can kind of just give this a quick taste. And you can definitely add some more wasabi powder, salt, any of the other ingredients that you would like to come out a little bit. So I'm actually going to add almost a quarter of a teaspoon more of the wasabi powder. And then also another splash of the apple cider vinegar. You can give it another taste with a different clean finger. Oh, that's great. It has a nice little bit of a kick to it and is perfect. So now we can wrap this up and store it in the fridge while we make our roasted garlic aioli. Okay, so I have 2 egg yolks at the bottom of this glass. Now, this glass is the best thing that I can find in my kitchen to use. That is going to allow this immersion blender to fit perfectly on the bottom and not have a ton of extra space around the sides. So we can add a pinch of salt, a little bit of white pepper, some lemon juice. Now I usually put my hand underneath just to make sure that none of the seeds are gonna get in it. You don't want mayonnaise or an aioli. This is the base of like a mayonnaise. You don't want that to have giant lemon seeds in there. Let me wipe off my hands. And then we can pour the oil onto the top. Now you want to let this sit here for about a minute or so, just to kind of allow all of the oil to float to the top. I don't know if I can show that to you a little bit easier. You can see the egg yolk is kind of sitting on the bottom, the 2 egg yolks, and then you have the oil sitting on the top. So now what we're going to do is take our immersion blender and put it firmly on the bottom. You can kind of feel around, make sure that it's going to be firmly on the bottom. And what we're going to do is turn on the immersion blender and not move it at all from the base. You want it to stay as flat against the bottom of your glass or whatever other type of container, thin, round, kind of cylindrical container that you have. You want to allow this to go for about 10 to 15 seconds without moving it. Okay, so as you can see, this is starting to form kind of a very thick consistency, and then you still have kind of your oil that's around the side. So we're going to continue to do this until this thick consistency is all that we see and all the oil has been incorporated. Okay, so as you can see, a nice thick consistency has formed. If you kind of move as you kind of shake it off, you can kind of see this is nice and thick. So we can go grab our garlic. Okay, so as you can see, I just added, you can kind of see right there, my roasted garlic. I added about a tablespoon, just a little bit less. You could just put the immersion blender back in and just give it a couple quick pulses to kind of mix that roasted garlic around. And then you can place this into a bowl and it's ready for your sweet potato fries. I hope you gave these 2 dipping sauces a shot. They are super simple to make, and then any leftovers you have, you can just wrap up or store in a sealable container in the fridge and use it later on that week. I wouldn't keep them too far past 7 days, but as long as you keep them cold and sealed, they will easily last 7 days. One of my other favorite things to use these dipping sauces for is to put over a nice grass-fed beef burger. They taste amazing and go great also with these sweet potato fries. So I will see you guys next week and hope you have a great weekend. Bye.